Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. I'm starting up soon. I'm just getting everything set up. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. All right, we're starting up real soon. Yeah, we're going to be drawing all the Ninja Turtles. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm going live. So, if you guys weren't already here a few days ago, it was over the weekend. I started sketching all of the Ninja Turtles into my tiny, tiny sketchbook. Tiny, tiny sketchbook. All right, so I'm just getting this ready. So this is what we have so far. I've been wanting to fill out this sketchbook for so long. So I actually started last week drawing this capybara right here. That was very, very random. And then I drew Elephant Mario. And then the first Ninja Turtle I drew was Michelangelo. So Mikey right here. And I've been using my phone as my reference photos. I have a bunch of JPEGs on there, so that's what I've been doing. So right, and then the next one I drew was Master Splinter right here. Master Splinter, and then I drew Leonardo, the team leader. Then I drew Raphael, one of my favorite Ninja Turtles. And then I drew Usagi. He looks really, really cool. So I have not too many pages left, but I've been drawing it back and forth from the front and back page, trying to fill up every page. So I decided to draw, I think next should be Donatello. I think he's our last one. Because I do have April O'Neil that I could draw also. And I can also draw a Shredder as well. Also draw Shredder. So yeah, I think I'll draw Donatello next. I have him right here, my bottom page. And yeah, so I've been just using ballpoint pens. If you guys can see these right here, ballpoint pens only. And that's been really fun, just trying to do that with ballpoint pen only. All right, and we're going to be here for the next probably 2 hours, maybe 3. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so I have my drafting pencil and my regular number 2 pencil. Just so I can get a quick, very light sketch. And that way, if I do need to erase, it keeps erasing to a minimum. So all right, so let's begin. So let's draw Donatello. Right, hopefully you guys can see me pretty okay. All right, so let's zoom in here just a little bit. And let's draw Donatello. Let's go, let's go. So I'm gonna start off with his head. I'm gonna draw him as small as possible just to make sure I can fit in his entire body. This is just a quick gesture drawing, meaning everything is very loose. Everything is just shapes. And I'm trying to catch the action of how he's standing in his pose. So, and I've always liked the way that can exaggerate the way that they have his huge calves exaggerated, his huge feet look pretty cool. A lot of this, I'm drawing a lot of the, so for example, his chest, his head I made too small, but that's okay. Notice for his fingers, I'm literally drawing ovals and circles. It just makes it easier. And then you'll see me going into detail. This just makes it easier to know where his hand placements are and all the landmarks that I like to call the landmarks of the body. Let's draw his famous staff that he has. See how I made his fingers a little shorter than what I was supposed to, but that's okay because we're still in pencil, so it doesn't matter. We can draw over our lines, which is pretty cool. All right, so all right, so if you guys are starting or just tuning in, we're drawing Donatello, our last Ninja Turtle. Our last Ninja Turtle. Let me go for that head to make sure not too small. It looks like I drew his feet a little too small, so it's okay. We're still going to be able to fix all of these mistakes. I'm gonna extend his feet just a tiny bit more. Make him a bit more grounded. Right, so that's the quick pencil sketch right there. And I do have my kneaded eraser right here. One of the best that you can use. All right, so let's zoom into his face. I want to make sure I get his face and his head size as accurate as possible. So let's get to it. Okay. By the way, whoever's watching, let me know in the comment section below if you guys are huge into the Ninja Turtles like I was. I'm going to zoom out just a tiny bit. Okay, so I'm done with that pencil. So now we're going to go for the face. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see. Okay, so I'm gonna go for the nose or the front part of the mouth. And what I like about ballpoint pens is that you can go as light as you want by barely putting any pressure. And that's how you can create different line darkness and widths as well. Right now I'm trying to go in maybe not too much pressure just for now. All right, cool. I love how the eyes turned out. And by the way, if you guys have ever played any of the Ninja Turtles games, he's always been one of those cool ones with the long reach because of his staff, which is pretty cool. All right, let's zoom out just a bit. So it looks like I got his face pretty accurate. Now let's get some of that shell in here, just on the back. And hopefully this foreshortening of the hands and arms, that's always the little tricky part. So we'll get this done. And this is why I like to always draw with my pencil first. In this way, you can always see the mistakes that you can make and can correct them because you can't really erase pen like that. So all right, let's go in for the chest area right here. And again, I love drawing fan art because this is something that also keeps you interested in what you're drawing. And it sharpens up your drawing skills as well. So might as well draw something that you love, right? Something that's actually interesting and not boring. So all right, so we're gonna fix this. Is kind of looking a little wonky, so I'm gonna push his arm and his muscle, his bicep, a little bit further out. And his elbow area. That way it doesn't look a little weird, the foreshortening. We'll fix that up right now. Alright, so we're gonna fix up the stick as well. Alright, cool, there we go. We fixed at least that part of the arm. Let's make that staff. Long, cool staff that he had. Let's go over here to the hands, those fingers right here. Let's zoom in one more time. You guys can see that. Alright, so we got the arms pretty spot on when it comes to the foreshortening, which is pretty cool. We're going to get the rim of that shell. We're going to get that belt that they have. That's very cloth-like. I'm gonna make it just a little bit longer than normal, just because it looks pretty cool. We're gonna fix those legs as well. We're gonna make sure we spread out those legs just a tiny bit more, just because it looks a little cooler. Have a cool action pose, action stance as well. Alright, so how's it looking? And by the way, I'm going to have these all separate into separate videos in the coming weeks, and hopefully closer towards Inktober. And I know normally they call this Sketchtober, but Inktober is obviously the most popular one, so I'll probably be releasing those around that time. As you can see, I'm actually correcting us the way that I drew the feet earlier, which is pretty okay because that's just the pencil marks which I'm actually going to erase in a little bit. Alright, so let's draw this foreshortened foot right here. This one, he has his, almost like he's standing on his tippy toes. Alright, cool. So there's the basic basic outline of this turtle right here. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is use my kneaded eraser to get rid of all of those unnecessary pencil marks. Let's get rid of all of these just to make sure everything is as clean as possible. What I like about this kneaded eraser does it hardly leaves any residue. Hardly leaves any residue. Alright, so now that we have that, you can start using our other pens right here. Different tones, different darks and lights right here. So let's see. So we're gonna zoom into the face again. I'm gonna see which one's my darkest one. It's actually almost running out. Okay. Let me see this one. Alright, so let's draw our darkest dark. Let's go. So what I'm going to do is go into all of the shadow areas. And you're going to see a huge difference when we start adding all of those shadows. You'll notice it right here on this belt with this letter D on there. I'm working into that bandana as well. There's a lot of cool shadows in there, so we're gonna darken those up. Oh, and I forgot to actually do that part of the staff that's kind of wrapped around. I'm going to use my other one to add some of these smaller medium tone shadows in his muscle area. So this one's actually a little bit more of a gray, almost dried out pen right here. You can see that right here. And this one I really like because I can barely, I'll add some medium tones and you're going to see a big difference. And also I'm barely putting any pressure on there. Hopefully you guys can see all of the shadows. And it adds just a cool dimension to the overall form. Even though it is a flat cartoon drawing, there's still always something about adding some shadows Watch, we're gonna add some shadows underneath the staff. It's gonna just make it pop out. And anyone watching, thank you for watching. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. We're drawing the Ninja Turtles. He's actually going to be the last one that I need to draw. Already drew Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael. So let's add some shadows under his mouth and his head. Look at how I'm going with the form of his bicep. Instead of straight lines, I'm going into with curved line to also make it a bit more rounded as well. I'm turning my entire page, my entire sketchbook over to make it easier on, so I won't have a weird angle that's uncomfortable for when I'm drawing. So all right, let's go for the chest. I'm gonna do these highlights just so I can know where I'm not going to add some shadows. All right, cool. That's looking really, really good right there. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. Welcome, welcome. We're drawing Donatello. All right, so let's go for his legs. Let's zoom into his leg muscles right here. We're drawing the classic Ninja Turtles, and actually these are specifically from the TMNT Shredder's Revenge. If you guys haven't tried that game out, it's some old school beat 'em up fun for that. I've been enjoying that on the Nintendo Switch. Let me know if you guys have played that game. It's really, really good. Alright, so let's move on to this part of his chest, the pelvic bone area. Right, and it looks like most of the light is coming in from the right, so that's why it's all going to be left pretty light. Right, and there you have it. For the most part, we're gonna add a bit more shadows, but that's how it looks like with these ballpoint pens that I have right here. Right, just to show you guys what I have so far. We have Michelangelo. We have Master Splinter. We have Leonardo. Raphael. Usagi. He looks really, really cool. And now Donatello. I still feel like he needs a lot more shadows, so we're gonna darken his shell just a bit more. I think he needs a bit more of the shadow underneath his arm. This is really going to be a cool, striking look. Just add a tiny bit more darkness. This is actually a newer pen, so that's why it's a bit darker than normal. So that's why I like using this one to add the deep, deep shadow. Alright, cool. So there we go. That's Donatello. And here's one of my favorite things that I like to use if I do want to do any corrections is this white jelly roll pen. Alright, so this is what I like to do is to just, if I have any mistakes, I can kind of correct it with this. So for example, let's zoom in just a bit right here. This jelly roll pen right here. I feel like I messed up a little bit in his mouth, just a tiny bit. I'm just gonna extend it out just a tiny bit more. Same, there we go, already fixed his mouth. And then on the little letter D right here on his belt, I'm just gonna make it a little bit sharper. That looks better. And right here on his rib cage, I'm gonna add just a bit more highlights that I think I kind of messed up on. For example, let's see. Same thing for his muscle area right here. Right, and there you have it. We have Donatello. We have Donatello completed. All right, so I think next, let's zoom out again. We're going to, I think, let's go for April O'Neil. So here I have them so far. Let's go for April O'Neil. We're gonna go and move her to this side. All right, we're drawing April O'Neil now. All right, let's do this thing. Okay. We're going to use the pencil like I did. I'm actually going to zoom out just a little bit more. I'm going to try and fit her entire body on here as well. So let's go for her face, her head. And this is still just a rough idea. April O'Neil has always looked cool with her yellow jumpsuit type of clothing that she has on. And she has her huge, huge camera. All right, so let's see. I don't think we're going to be able to fit her entire body, but that's okay. All right, cool. We got her entire body down. Now let's zoom in and go a little bit for the face. Hi, hello everybody, welcome, welcome. We're drawing April O'Neil. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. All right, so make sure that I get the eyes and her hair correct. I think I might have drawn her head a little too small, but we can go ahead and fix that. All right, cool. So I have that down. All right, cool. So we have all right, let's move on to the pens now. And let's start off with her face. All right, let's use this pen. All right, we're going in for the face now. Right, I do like her red hair and her bob that she has, which is pretty cool. That's very iconic for her character design. Alright, cool. So we have her eyes down. Alright, so let's zoom out and we're gonna get the entire body now. Alright, so we're doing so good so far. Hello everybody, welcome, welcome. Whoever's watching, welcome, welcome. Thank you for watching. Ken, I might have drawn her watch a little too small. I mean, a little too big, but I'll make that a little bit smaller. Let's draw her belt. Right, we're almost done with her pants. Let's finish her hand that's holding the camera. cool. We have that down. Cool basic outline of her right there. Now we're going to erase some of those pencil marks with our kneaded eraser. All right, let's do this thing. All right, everybody, welcome. Alright, so let's go ahead and erase all of these little pencil marks because we do not need them anymore. Alright, so before we get started again, let's just go over everything that I've done so far. So we have Donatello. We're almost done with April. We have Usagi. We also have Raphael. We have Leonardo. We have Master Splinter. And we have Michelangelo. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna, just for a few minutes, I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. I'm back, everyone. Hello, hello. So we're drawing the Ninja Turtles, everyone. We're drawing the Ninja Turtles. Okay. All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to my channel, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Right. So all right, cool. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so we already did the outline for April O'Neil. Now we're gonna do the shadows. All right. So everything is set. And again, let's start off with her hair. Right, so let's make sure we get some of those highlights and shadows in here. Right, I'm gonna leave the tone of the paper just so that if you guys can see, I'm gonna zoom in just a tiny bit more. I'm gonna leave her highlights the color of the paper, and that's gonna be the pure white or the pure highlights of her hair, which you can see right here, right there. And anyone who's watching, welcome, welcome. We're drawing all the Ninja Turtles, and I just finished drawing Donatello. So now I'm drawing April O'Neil. So we're just sketching and chatting. Let me know in the comment section who's your favorite Ninja Turtle. And if you even grew up watching the Ninja Turtles just like I did back in the 90s, the mid 90s for me. Alright, so right now we're just doing these shadows with the, and we're doing everything in ballpoint pen. Right, so that's pretty okay for her hair. I think we can start moving on to the rest of her body. So this part of the cuff, that's all in a complete shadow. So we'll do that. Do the back of her. And also, depending on the pressure that you put of the pen, you can create some darker or lighter tones. So I'm actually going now medium into this part of the shadow that you can see right here, right next to the yellow. So you notice a big difference from right here to this medium that I'm adding right here. Right, her arm that's holding the camera is in complete shadow, so we'll darken that. let's turn this just to make it easier on myself to start drawing these long swoops like this of line, just to kind of darken this quicker. And that's a quick tip as well. Make sure you're always tilting and twisting your sketchbook or any page that you're drawing, just to make it easier on yourself to keep things from being as comfortable as possible. I'm going to twist her even more right here. Cool, we got the shadows pretty much down. Now let's get that camera. So let's zoom into that camera. I think I have my darkest, yeah, there we go. This is my darkest pen. Those are in complete shadow. So all right, so there you have it. We have April O'Neil. For the most part, we have her completed. All using ballpoint pen. She turned out like actually really cool because I drew her a little bit bigger than normal, which is pretty cool. And for the most part, I don't think I need any corrections on her. Okay, so she just needs a little bit more on her boot area. correct just a tiny bit. I think I made a little bit too much. Part of this nose a little long. All right, cool. I like how that turned out. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are, ooh, an hour and a half in. We're an hour and a half in. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there. So, we have Mikey. We have Michelangelo. We have Master Splinter. We have Leonardo. We have Raphael, Usagi, Donatello, and now we have April. And this is actually the best picture that I have of Master Splinter, which I think would be cool to do. All right, so we're still drawing. I think we're gonna draw Shredder and maybe Foot Clan Ninja, or maybe even that fly. I really like that fly. I forgot his name. Right, and then again, we're gonna do it in pencil first. We're gonna do this in pencil. So I do have my drafting pencil and my number 2 arts, the Edler pencil. So let's go, let's go. Right, so since he's only showing half of his body, that's all we're gonna do is half of his body. So let's get to it. Shredder time, okay. I think I'm already drawing him too big, so let's actually, you know what? Let's do him lengthwise. That'd be pretty cool. Yes, since this one's a bit vertical, we'll do it that way. Yeah, that'll be easier. Okay, so let's get to it. All right, so I'm drawing basic shapes, and I'm doing this in the gesture style just because we want to keep everything light, and I just want to get the basic form first before we go into any of the pen work. I think we're doing okay with the form so far, but I know I'm gonna have to adjust a few things just like I did the other drawing, just to make sure that the proportions are not off. So make sure to get his face just right. Right, cool, we have the basic sketch down. Now we're gonna go for the face. We're gonna make sure his head and his helmet and everything looks correct. So let's get to it. All right, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so we're going to be drawing Shredder. All right, so give me one. Alright, so let's get to it. Let's draw Shredder. Right, we're gonna go in and draw his helmet. I just want to make sure I get his eyes correct because I know they're kind of small. I'm gonna zoom in just a tiny bit. Alright, cool. I got his mask and helmet pretty spot on. Right, and his arms are really foreshortened. So we're gonna go ahead and try and fix that, especially in this area right here. So we're gonna zoom in. He has a lot of intricate details, so we need to fix that. Alright, so he has these 3 spikes on his arm. Alright, cool. We got his arms down. Or one of his arms. His hand. Let's draw other arm. Alright, cool. We have the basic outline ready. Let's zoom in just a tiny bit, and there we go. We have Shredder. Need to draw his cape. So we're gonna start erasing all of our unnecessary pencil marks, and we're gonna move into these shadows. And I'm using a kneaded eraser. This is one of the best erasers an artist can have. It doesn't leave a lot of residue, and you can lift graphite easily. Alright, there we go. We erased all those unnecessary underlying drawings that I did with my drafting pencil right here. Okay. So now we're going to try all of our pens to see how, so we can add some shadows, some midtones, and some highlights as well. Alright. Go get some Wartor. Alright, hello everybody, welcome. If you guys haven't already done so, like, comment, and subscribe, okay? So, time to add some shadow. So, let's zoom in to the face again, and I'm gonna zoom in. Let's add some shadows to that face, just a tiny bit. Right, now to that mask, because there's a lot of chrome in his mask, a lot of gray. So let's darken that. So let's add a bit more to that helmet. And also depending on the pressure that I put into the drawing, I'm sorry, into the pen. will determine how much you're going to add that pigment into the paper. I'm not I'm not adding in the deepest shadows just yet. All right, I'm gonna start turning it just to make it easy on myself. Especially for the belt. And soon I'll start drawing all of the darkest darks as well. gonna start adding in these dark shadows. So we just about finished Shredder. All right, I'll be right back. All right, everyone, I'm back. Hello, hello. Okay, so I think this is going to be it. We've been here for over 2 hours. So I just want to show you guys the rest of, or the entire sketches that I drew today. So we finished Master Splinter right here. So we drew Splinter. We drew Splinter. And then we did April O'Neil. It turned out really, really cool. And then we did Donatello. We did Usagi. And Raphael. Leonardo. Master Splinter. And Michelangelo. He was the first one that I did. Alright, I did it all with ballpoint pen. Right, so thank you guys so much for watching and see you later. Bye.